What's up, y'all? This Rock 33. Um, Today I'm gonna I like doing voice expressions of my written expressions and visual expressions, cause for me to fully get out this expression, I like to see it in many forms. This is mainly for me, but I know people like to also listen, or like I know certain people like to read, certain people like to listen to shit. So it's like me personally, I like all of them, so I do it for me first and then I put it out. But this morning I had I had did a journal entry, like with my journal. I like it's not just like shadow work and stuff like that. It's just my thought processes. It's the stuff that I'm studying. It's just things that I'm just thinking in life. You feel me? I look at life like a school anyway. Like I look at, you know what I'm saying, the universe, the world, whatever, as a school anyway. I learn from everybody in my life. I learn from myself, you know what I'm saying? I learn from the experiences I go through. So with me, it's more in the sense of I'm always putting myself in a position to understand myself a little bit more and to understand my situation a little bit more. And in that, I also want to be able to share that in hopes that and trust that it helps other people in the same situation. Maybe not directly, it could be indirectly, but that's why I allow myself to be as creative as possible, because that allows me to be able to say, yo, I don't gotta be too rigid on what I gotta say. I could get it said. I could put it in words that the the mundane person could understand, where a child could understand it, where an old person could understand it. It's just different levels to things, to where me personally, at this stage in life, it's just I'm able to understand things at a different level, not only because I'm just an adult and everything, but it's more in the sense of I got a son, like I got a child, so my perspective shifted drastically, but not even too much. But it's like my polarity shifted, because me, I was the kid and now I'm the father, you know what I'm saying? But I still got the same heart as a child. You feel me? I still got the same imagination as a child. My logic is more of the elder type, you know what I'm saying? But my energy itself is more childlike. It's more, that's my spirit. You feel me? I allow my spirit to guide me, and my spirit is the spirit of a child. I'm pretty sure everybody's spirit is the spirit of a child, but sometimes that spirit of a child can create spirits of elders, and like the child alone creates so many things. You feel me? So that's just my perspective on art and everything. That we all grow up, but we all grow up to be artists in different forms. We all, when we kids, we put on, we play house, we play this, we play that, we put on different things to play a role at the end of the day, so we could be able to manifest that later in life. Whether you had a doll and that doll represented a kid that you eventually had when you got older, or if it was a video game that, let's say it was a racing video game with cars, you eventually got a car and treated it exactly the same. So that my whole concept is that the imagination of a child, and observing your own imagination, or observing your childlike energy or the childlike energy around you, will be able to put your perspective in a way that is in that middle space where you understand a lot. You know what I'm saying? But my whole my whole point of this video really is to go into my writing that I call it the Muse Effect, or the Muse Effect. I don't know how you. It depends who you is. That's what I'm saying. Like it depends who you is. Like depending where you from, Muse may be Muse. It may be, you know what I'm saying. Like so, but I ain't even gonna go into that. But so to start it off, we just gonna go all the way through, and then I'm gonna give my own breakdown of it, and then I'm gonna just fully break it down. So we got Are you an artist or a muse? Are you the space that holds blah? I'm going too ahead of myself. All right, so we got, are you an artist or a muse, or are you the space that holds both? In this moment, anything can and will happen. In this moment, you are doing one of three things. If you are not giving life, you are taking life. If you are not taking life, you are giving life. In between is called space. This is where you create capacity for both sides to exist in harmony. This space is called the present moment, right now. When an artist is creating a project, the project becomes its own being because of the inspiration or muse. This project can now either give or take life from the artist, as the artist can now give or take life from the project. One cannot live without the other. What does the artist represent to you? What does the muse represent to you? And what does the space that holds both represent to you? This is the observer effect. This is the muse effect. So, breaking this down, to me, well, I just wrote this. This is like a channel that I got. Like, I just woke up and wrote it down. But what it means to me is, basically, to me, we are all three. We are the artist, we are the muse, we are the space that holds both. But in the context of the space that holds both is your mind. You know what I'm saying? And you putting your perception in the first person perspective that you're in your body is being the artist, but the experience that you're creating in this space is the muse. You know what I'm saying? So with that, that's why I said in this moment anything and will happen, because it's up to you, your mind, and the actions in the moment you're in. Like, that's where you have full control and no control of your life at all. Everything's a paradox where you're able to see what's going on in your life by just going within your own life, or going within yourself by saying, what am I thinking about right now? What put me here? What thought am I living out right now? And it's really that at the end of the day, a lot of actions that we do are just thoughts that we are living out. Um, the impulses that we have, the emotions that we have, are emotions that we want to express. Like, as an artist, me, I allow myself to be angry. I allow myself to be mad. I allow myself to be sad. I allow myself to be happy. I allow myself to feel every emotion because I'm a human being. You feel me? And my body has all these emotions for a reason, for me to express them. It may be that they need to be expressed in a regulated way, but they do need to be expressed. You feel me? So I'm at that stage in my life as an artist and a creator to where, like, growing up like this, it was looked at as that's gonna be somebody. But as you get older, that spice that you have within yourself, that fire that you have within yourself, people wanna tame it. People wanna tame the fire because they don't want it to spread into wildfire. They fear that. It's not even that they fear you, but they fear what you gonna do with your energy, which I understand. But in the same concept, that is also, if you look at it in the observer effect, is you putting out your own fire that you have within yourself. Like me, how I'm looking at it is like, once I had my son, like, my whole life shifted in a way where I understand why I didn't like people telling me what to do, but guiding me on what to do. You feel me? Like, there's a difference of saying you gotta do this, or, yo, this is a cool way to do something. That alone shifts somebody's perspective. If you tell somebody you have to do something, 9 times out of 10 they not gonna do it just because you told them that they had to. You didn't give them a choice. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning that with my son, where he's a new, like, he just turned 10 months, to where I'm just observing his responses to what I say, his responses to the things around him, his observation. Because I'm just observant naturally, so I know he's naturally observant. So I just be observing him, observing me, observing him, and then that's where I got to this type of thought, to where it's you observing yourself in a different form always. Like, that's why, like, when people say we twins or da da da, like, these aren't trying to say physically. These trying to give like a context of, yo, you mirroring my energy right now in this moment. It may not be tomorrow. We may not be twins, or we may not match each other. We may not match energy, whatever the case is. But in this moment we mirror each other, and it's our job to observe each other in a state of not controlling the other person, but seeing myself in the other person to be able to heal things within myself, to be able to heal things within the other person. Like, what you do for yourself is what you do for others, and what you do for others is what you do for yourself, literally. If you help somebody when they down, you helping yourself when you was down, or you helping yourself when you go down. when when somebody's helping you and you allow yourself to receive that help, you was it's all a paradox. You know what I'm saying? If you allow yourself to receive help, that means somebody will allow you to help them. Like, as somebody who genuinely loves to help from the heart, it hurts me when nobody wants to receive my help. Like, when I'm genuinely trying to help somebody, it hurts me that I'm like, what in you makes you feel like you don't deserve this? That's what I think, because that's how I would think in my position. If I don't receive something, I feel like I don't deserve it. And that's just me. I can't speak for another person. But from my perspective and my experiences, when I reject things that I know I probably need, is because I feel like I don't deserve it, whether it's like an imposter syndrome type of thing, or I feel like I did I ain't do enough. You feel me? Like, or I'm not enough. That's usually where I come from though. You probably feel like you ain't do enough. You feel like you have to go through certain loops of steps or a certain order to be able to be at a certain destination. And I was going through that mentally, but I had got to the point where I was like, if you observing that, you gotta realize when you gonna get to that part. Like, if you got the energy of you always chasing something, when is you ever gonna have the energy of actually receiving the thing you chasing? You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of mindset that my brain put it in. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna drink some coffee right now. I'm doing the voice message, so I'm gonna commentate on what I'm doing, so y'all don't just think I'm silent. But uh I forgot what part I'm at. But I said, in this moment, anything can and will happen. In this moment, you're doing one of three things. If you're not giving life, you're taking life. If you're not taking life, you're giving life. In between is called space. So this is where you create capacity for both sides to exist in harmony. This space is called the present moment right now. So in the context of that, I'm basically saying our mind is always playing out the past and the future right now. Like, to be able to create something, you need something to destroy. To be able to destroy something, you need something to create. Literally, before you could, let's say, break a habit, you need a habit to replace it with. Before you could even have a habit, you need something. You need a problem. Let's say, like, before, let's say you have a smoking habit. Before you started smoking, you had a problem to fix, and that was actually a solution at one point, and that solution ended up being a problem in the long run. So that's where you have to understand, okay, like, you gotta understand this, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's about the I can't think of the word, but it's about basically how much of what you using, like the tolerance of it. Like, you know yourself more than anybody, so you know when you doing too much of this. You know when you not doing enough. So you know when something is harming you, and you know when something is helping you. Somebody outside of you may be able to use your cues to be like, this ain't good for you, based on your cues, like you would a child. But only you would know, yo, this really hurts me internally, and I'm just putting up a mask that it's not. Like me, I'm a person that I put on the mask like I'm not hurt, just because I don't like when people worry about me. Like, I just hate that energy of worrying. It's not that I don't receive people to care about me. It's the worry that comes with that care. It's that I think something bad might happen. That is that part that I don't like. So I put on a mask that I'll be good. The whole time I could probably be going through something, but it's because of that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to understand when you on the receiving end or the giving end, or when you in the middle. And being in the middle is being in the present moment. That's when you just observe. Like, for example, if you watching a fight, you in the middle until you like, oh, I think they gonna win. Now you on their perspective. Now you only can be in their perspective. If you think they gonna win, they thinking they gonna win. You know what I'm saying? The other person thinking they gonna win. So you pin your perspective on and then let's say this, that perspective alone is the aggressor. So if you pin your, that's where that energy switches between the two people fighting at will. One person is aggressive, and then when they run out of energy of being aggressive, the other person got the energy to be aggressive, and it's really whoever could hold that energy the longest win, or whoever could be able to hold that whatever energy they hold and be able to switch it at will usually wins. That's how fighting work. It's a dance. It's not really a fight. When you realize that everything is one, like it's not really a fight at the end of the day. They dance and they, you know what I'm saying. One side go that, you feel me? It's like walking. You can't walk with both legs going the same way at the same time. It's not gonna work. They ain't gonna have no rhythm. So yeah, so when an artist is creating a project, the project becomes its own being because of its inspiration or the muse. This project can now either give or take life from the artist, as the artist can now give or take life from the project. One cannot live without the other. So it's like, for example, I'm gonna use the example as of a child again, just so it's more real to y'all. Cause like for an artist, for a creator, that works on projects, they already look at it as they child. But people that don't, let's say this, I'm not even gonna say people that never, because everybody's done a creative project before, but not everybody looked at their project as a child. But when you look at it as a child, it'll give you an understanding. But if you are a parent, you could take that understanding, or if you observe the parent, you could take this understanding. But when you create a child, that child can now, the child one was an inspiration before. Like you wouldn't have even created that child if you wasn't inspired. All right, you needed that. Like the child is a muse. Like okay, I'm gonna have, like for example, when you're an adult, I'm gonna be an adult. Like let's say I want to be a fireman when I grow up. You're not really, because you thinking as a child at that age, but you're not thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be a fireman for the child. So because the child, your child gonna represent you as a child. So you really just creating your own parent within yourself, like in that aspect. I'm not saying everybody doing this, but when you take that context of what I want to be when I grow up, and that childlike thing, you gotta look at all the other dynamics that go along with that. If you're an adult, a fireman, and it's a child saying it, you could have been a child, and your own child was on the frequency of you as a child, creating, telling you what to be. You feel me? Like it could literally be stuff like that. Like my brain, my imagination is very vast, and I'll take it as far as I want to go because I look at it as my inner child. So from that type of thing is where really look at life like that, to where my inner child wanted me to be free, but it also wanted me to have, you know what I'm saying, a foundation, and wanted me to have a certain way of living. And then now that my son here, it's like I understand that voice in my head was him. And that's how I look at it. It don't gotta be true to you, but it's true to me. To where that's how my perspective changed on even being an artist, to where that project is like a baby that could really give you life. It's gonna be able to drain you. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take your attention. It's gonna take money to make this project. It's literally a living being, because you are giving it your life force, your life energy, your attention, your time, your money, all that. But it also feeds you back. You know what I'm saying? When you go back and look at that project you put all that money into, all that energy into, you go back at it, and you're proud. You're proud. You're proud of yourself. You're proud of your project, and it's not a separation, but there is a separation at the same time, and that's what the observer effect really goes into. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Muse Effect really goes into. I'm gonna say these last three points before I move on. But it's, what does the artist represent to you? What does the muse represent to you? And what does the space that holds both represent to you? Um, but I'm finna break down the observer effect more on the quantum mechanics of it, which is the act of observation alters the state of what is being observed. This is done in the double split experiment. But to break it down in like just regular terms, is like you could feel when you being watched and when you not being watched. It's like your body knows. It feels like you in a cage and not being in the cage energetically. It may not be physically, but you feel like you naturally would have no resistance to something just because you have no resistance. You know nobody's watching you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been watched by their parent, so your body naturally knows when you're being watched. So you don't even gotta consciously be aware of it. Your nervous system will respond to that through resistance, through blockages. That is usually a big sign that you being observed, either by yourself or by others. If you not being too rigid on yourself and you still got resistance, that's how I know I'm being observed. Like I'll call it out. I'll be like, yo, who's watching me? Like, and then I'll look over my shoulder and I'll see somebody watching me. You feel me? So it's like you gotta understand when subtle energy is being released, being received. You know what I'm saying? This is done. Like nothing is still, but when you are still in the mind, you're able to see the movement of everything else. Is what I'm really trying to get to the bottom of with this. So basically, uh, like consciousness is basically awareness with pure of heart intention, but basically consciousness or measurement, which is limitation, will cause a collapse of probability into actuality. So, for example, when you make an internal decision, you will collapse probability into actuality. When you internally be like, I don't rock with this no more, or and it's really that. It's when you change your mind. That's when, let's say, timelines collapse into one. When you change your mind, is when you change your mind on something that you haven't changed your mind on in so long. Um, when you break a big habit, this is when you will send out a ripple effect between your body, the energy field, the quantum field. It's gonna be felt regardless. It's gonna be observed. It's gonna be not. It's gonna be in all aspects, observed and not observed. It's gonna be observed by some and not observed by some. It's gonna be some parts may be observed by you, some parts may not. That's where you gotta just allow energy to flow to be able to see that. But this is where when you in a timeline shift or something, it's like the observation effect. The observer effect is going on more prominently when you going through a timeline shift, or what I would say a breakthrough, or what I would say a crossroads type of moment. So basically, this observer effect could be not done just by just being observed by somebody. This could be done through self-observation, which is mindfulness, because that will transform unconscious habits into conscious choices. So if you allow yourself to just make mistakes, if you allow yourself to just be, you'll be able to observe yourself. You'll be able to observe the unconscious habits you have and be able to change them. But if you are so rigid on yourself, you won't even give yourself a chance to break a habit. So that's why you gotta give yourself that grace. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that we read, we need to give to ourselves first before we give to anything outside of us, because everything outside of us is only an extension of what is inside of us. We cannot give love that we cannot give ourselves. We cannot give no money that we cannot give ourselves. We cannot give no patience that we cannot give ourselves. We cannot give no wisdom that we cannot give ourselves. It's so many different things. If you are saying something and can't practice what you preach, you can't preach. You know what I'm saying? It's really that type of situation. To go into this more, the ego may change behavior when witnessed by the higher self or by the spirit. Um, your lower self, your lower nature instincts may change behavior when your vision is present, when your thoughts are present, when what you say is true. This goes into my last video that I had posted. I forgot what I called it, but it was really just dealing with your higher and lower self, and how your lower self is a slave, but not in that type of context. But you have to watch the video to understand that more. But I'm gonna go on to basically Attention is the base energy to creation. So where your attention goes, energy flow. That is the first spark of potential energy, is paying attention to it. Because you're in a neutral state when you paying attention to something. You're not agreeing with something. You're not disagreeing with something. When you are paying attention to something. When you charge something, that's when you agree or disagree. But first you have to pay attention, and then you got to pay a charge. All right. So I hope this is giving y'all understanding. We do this in regular transactions daily, so I hope this context is very understood. But you're gonna give your attention to something, but then let's say you don't like it, you're gonna charge a negative charge to it. Let's say you like something, you're gonna pay a positive charge to it. So your attention and your emotional charge to it is the payment, and that will create you either making a physical payment or not. Okay, so the actions you make are unconscious to begin with, but you could see the energy behind it before it even play out. But to observe is to collapse timelines and to shape outcomes. So when you observing, when you was in this, when you're in the neutral state of paying attention to something, not charging it yet, but just paying attention and observing something, this is when it collapses the past and the future. This is where the moments where all your great grandparents, them proverbs comes to you in one moment, when let's say the synchronicities come, when this is when people say the universe speak to you, when God speak to you. This happens many times in life. It's not just one moment, but that lets you know that life is one moment but many moments at the same time. But in this is when time collapses into one, when the timeline shifts like that. So it's just that type of energy. And basically, to observe a thing is to observe a thing purely is to become it, and to dissolve separation. So if, like, for example, me observing my son as me as a child was me observing him purely, was me to become my son. But becoming my son, I was able to see that I was still myself. I was able to see myself in my son, which then that taught me to try that with everybody around me. I did that with my mom. I did that with my dad. I did that with everybody around me, to be able to see what parts of them is in me and what parts of me is in them. This is when I understood not everything is physical, but it is at the same time, to where we may not biologically have the same genetic code, but we have the same energetic code, which creates the genetic code. You know what I'm saying? Um, you're not just born with diabetes. You will have it brought passed down through habit. You know what I'm saying? You have to activate that DNA within you to even have that illness. You know what I'm saying? So you got to observe things in that type of context to be able to see that there's two sides to every coin, that there's duality in everything for a reason, for you to get this understanding that there is no separation in anything, but there is polarity in everything. Okay, but to go more into this, the artist is the observer, but the muse is also observing the artist. And to give context of that is, the artist is observing his own mind, and the muse is the mind of the artist. So that's explaining, like, the artist is you and your life is your muse, right? Your life is gonna reflect your mind. Your life is gonna reflect the inner dialogue that you have with yourself. Is gonna reflect the inner feelings you have. If you see people arguing and you got that small connection to it, whether they arguing over something stupid, but you connected to it, you observing it, really, like you paying a lot of attention to it because you connect to it on some level. It's probably part of you placing yourself there to experience it, to observe a part of yourself, to be able to understand yourself more. Because when you watch let's say when you watch somebody arguing and they crash out, they do something stupid, you like, dang, I would have done that. If I didn't see this, I probably would have done that. You feel me? So you got to understand things like that. Like, that's where you can't even be mad at people that do crash out, or people that do negative things, because, like, they did that so you wouldn't do, like, they did that so you could see that you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying that as an excuse, but I'm giving you a context of everything happened for a reason, and that's why everything happened for a reason. Not so, not to carry it, but to understand what you do will always have a ripple effect. What you do will always have an impact. What you do will always have an influence, whether positive or negative, based on whoever is observing it. It's not, and that's where you could give yourself grace that how you observe yourself is how you is the energy that you will put out. So if you observing it yourself in a positive manner, 9 times out of 10, the majority of the energy you putting out is gonna be positive. Not saying everybody gonna love you, but the majority of people that you are gonna be able to notice will. The people that you put yourself around will, because you look at yourself like that. What you give yourself will come back to you. You know what I'm saying? And what you give to yourself, you will put out, which then will come back to you. That's what I want to say. And that's why, like, people always say, what you put out to the universe will come back. But how about what you give to yourself, you will put out, and what you put out will come back for you to put back into yourself. How about that? That'll give a better understanding of something. Like, I hate these half written quotes, you know what I'm saying? Or half thought out thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Because it's complete when you realize, okay, the cycle could restart with me. You know what I'm saying? That's where the power comes back to you. That's where you like, nah, I could start and end the cycle at will just by observing myself. I don't even gotta care too much about what somebody else got going on. I don't gotta care too much about what life throwing at me. I just gotta observe what I'm doing in these situations, and that's how I change them. And that's where the observer effect come in. You know what I'm saying? So the observer effect is mutual. To watch is to be watched. To observe is to be changed. To watch something is to watch your mind play out something. To observe something is to allow yourself to change your mind about something. If you're actively listening to this voice message video, whatever platform I put this on, you are observing it. But if you have a polarity put on, if you like it or dislike it, you instantly put yourself at a polarity. But if you put yourself as, dang, this sounds like me talking right now, you put yourself in that neutral state. You basically got rid of that separation between us that we call our ego, that name, that gender, and whatever I do in my life and whatever you do in your life, that separates us from, you know what I'm saying, from this core message that we both share. So that's where, like, me in the spiritual context, I look at everybody as a piece of myself, and therefore I gotta be a piece of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I give myself the grace to be able to speak the way I speak and express myself the way I do, because I understand that I represent a version of somebody's unconscious mind, because everybody around me represents a part of my unconscious mind, and I understand that life is a mirror. So that, and I'm only giving my perspective on it, but this is what gets me through day-to-day life and understanding people without, you know what I'm saying, taking it personal, or, you know what I'm saying, making up stories, because my imagination is very, like, vivid and is very vast. So I can make a small problem big, and I can make a small idea huge. You know what I'm saying? I could, like, my polarity, my duality is very extreme on both ends. I'm very loving, but I could be also very hateful, and that's the polarity of being very creative, or being like, this is what the side of people don't talk about, that there's two sides. Just how somebody is so rich is how poor they probably used to feel. You know what I'm saying? How beautiful somebody looks is how ugly they used to feel. How smart somebody is how dumb they used to feel. It's not to put a light on their shadow in that context, but it's to say, yo, this person been through some shit, and this is why they get to pop their shit the way they do. You know what I'm saying? This is why they do have an ego, because they had a shadow. You know what I'm saying? The shadow creates an ego for a reason, because the ego is really nothing but the shadow's higher self, let's say. That's the version of the shadow that it wants to. That's the light version of the shadow, is your ego. So if you work with your ego, you working with your shadow. You know what I'm saying? And your shadow is basically your unconscious mind. So the gateway between, like, you know what I'm saying, your higher self and your lower self is your ego at the same time. You gotta treat it. You gotta be graceful with yourself. You know what I'm saying? But to end this off, I got one more quote that I had wrote down, which is to create uh to create one must still whoa I wrote this crazy, my fault. To create one must be still envisioned. Basically, to create your vision must be still. You must be able to hold that visualization no matter what somebody else's thoughts say, what else, you know what I'm saying, whatever things that try to destroy that vision, don't allow it. Because if you allow it to destroy your vision in your head, you're allowing it to destroy your vision in the physical. But to continue it, I said to create one must be still in vision, yet you must allow the creation of the vision to change you. In that part, I want to explain that when you have a vision, like first when you had a vision, it's like, oh, this my vision, this my shit. You know what I'm saying? But then the vision becomes bigger than you. The vision is starting to support you. You know what I'm saying? That vision that God gave you, that vision that source gave you, the vision that your higher self gave you, regardless of what you want to call it, that vision, you must allow it to change you as a person. To get to that vision, you must, and that's where that sacrifice term comes in. You must sacrifice the old vision for the new vision. For you to get that new vision, you probably lived out an old vision that you used to have. Like for me, I had dumb visions. I'm not gonna really explain too much on them, but to give context, like I really did not value myself enough. So I seen the end of my life being a statistic. You feel me? So I really didn't plan past 21. So when I got to 21, I was at like I was like you feel me? It was like a blank slate, but like I would rather have, you feel me, something to work off of, and that's where I had to do my own work. You feel me? But just from that, I had to I had to destroy that. You know what I'm saying? The old vision of the things that I planned for my life, and when that didn't even work out, when God showed me that there's more on my plate, that's when I had to create a new. I didn't even create a new vision. God just gave me a new vision when I was ready. You feel me? So God gave me that vision, and I allowed that vision to change me. I allowed that vision to get me to get in tune with my spirit and the spirits around me. With me being in tune with myself, it gave me a connection with not only myself in a personal aspect, but a relationship with spirit and my spirit and external spirits and the source spirit. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to not separate and like fully separate, but put them in their own category. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to take my mind and move it in places where I didn't think I could. I'm able to do things with my physical body I didn't think I could do just by the observer effect of myself. So me doing this recording is something that my spirit wanted me to do when I rose up. You know what I'm saying? It's something that my spirit told my body to do step by step. My spirit told me first, yo, crack open the journal. I didn't know what I was gonna write, but then I wrote. But then after I finished writing, my spirit was like, yo, open up that voice memo app and press record. You know what I'm saying? And after that, I allowed myself to just speak. None of this. There's no script that I go off of. I can't go off of a script. It's too rigid. It makes me feel like a slave. You know what I'm saying? I gotta let my spirit speak the way it speaks because it's free. I'm free. So I gotta allow myself to be that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta give myself grace to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I grow. That's how I grow. I give myself grace to make mistakes so I could learn from them and tell myself what's wrong so nobody else gotta tell me. You know what I'm saying? I allow God to tell me. I allow spirit to tell me. I allow spirit to check me. Because spirit definitely checked me as many times as spirit checked me. Why you think I don't got that many videos up right now? I have to get myself in check. But with that, it created something within me to where I can be able to give out these messages in ways that serve me and serve y'all at the same time. And that was my main intention when it comes to anything that I do. is not to overextend myself, but not to just have everything all to myself at the end of the day. So I hope that this information, well, I trust that this information help guide y'all in whatever part of journey, on whatever part of y'all journey that y'all on. Me, how I deliver my messages, it's divine time, and so you gonna watch this whenever you need to watch this. Um, if you wanna get more information on different things that I'll be studying and talking about and channeling, I got a video up the on how purpose is a spiritual agreement. That'll be my most recent video. I did have my OST video up, but I took it down. But I will be pinning up the clips of it on my shorts, and I will be having the full not the full class, but a more cut up version of the class later this week or next week. But don't worry about that video. I'll have it back up for y'all. But that's really all I got for y'all for the Muse Effect. I trust that y'all enjoyed my transmission. That's really all I got for y'all. Y'all have an amazing one. Asha.